Hi everyone, I'm glad you're here. I'm Sandra. I'm going to be leading some sessions on how I learned to love myself, because I'm a lot more peaceful and loving of myself and appreciating myself, even honoring myself, than I used to be. Before, I would have had no idea. It would have felt just awful and weird to say honoring myself. Gracious sakes. I wasn't brought up to love myself, love God, love other people, but loving myself, that was just a concept out of my frame of reference. For a lot of my life, I was depressed and didn't know it. I felt lower than a worm sometimes. That was when I was maybe at my worst. Was diagnosed with depression. I've been in a bunch of therapy. And what I want to teach, really want to teach, are the techniques, the concepts that I learned in therapy that gave me back Sandra, gave me back my soul, because at one point I had lost my soul. That doesn't feel good. That doesn't feel good at all. How I learned to love myself. I am not a therapist. I am not a trained counselor. I'm simply sharing what helped me. I was a biology teacher by training. I taught a couple of years in high school, a year in junior high. This is over a period of time. I was a substitute teacher for 3 years. I taught preschool 1 year. I think looking back on it, I was just I was just trying to find myself, because I lost myself along the way. I didn't know what I thought. I didn't know what I felt much of the time. And I've gained that back. School teaching didn't work for me so much. Needing to do lesson plans, to follow lesson plans, to have it all planned out. That doesn't work. I've taught classes in this subject many times, 6 and 8 week sessions, oftentimes, for an hour and a half to 2 hour, each session, of the 6 to 8 weeks. I love doing that. I would go in not with a plan, not with a script, a rigid script. I would go in with an idea of what I wanted to mention that day as kind of part of the subject matter. But I would let it be free-flowing. That is more who I am. That's the way I feel comfortable teaching. I love teaching that way. Finding where the group is, what their questions are. And so that's how I've decided I want to do these sessions. Not writing it out. I look way too rigid, maybe even unfriendly if I'm reading it. So I'm just talking with you. There may be times when I lose my train of thought, because that happens fairly often, sometimes, when I'm speaking to someone. And as likely will happen, I've got note cards. So I will glance down and see if there's a particular topic or a thought that I want to bring up. As you can tell by my color of my hair, I am older. I am 84. I've been studying this for decades, actually. You don't learn it overnight. I began learning some of the principles, in a sense, overnight. I began getting the concept in my mind as to what it meant, and what I was not doing to make the loving myself happen concerning that concept. I want to teach this so much that I finally got my book written. JFK, Here's My Contribution to Our Country. Because he said, the president said, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And I wanted people to know my journey, a good part of it, and the concepts that I'm going to be sharing with you. Many of them are included in the book and in a more organized fashion. So if that's your bent, if you want some of the information but want to read it instead of hearing it, listening here, then that's available. The book is available on Amazon. I won't be having, at least at this moment, there's no plan to be offering a workshop that's going to cost money for you to get the information, etc., etc. I'm not operating that way. I want to just share with you the concepts. It's important for me not to take this information to my grave when I die. I've spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money learning how to be more authentic, more real. I enjoy teaching it. And I really want to start using the word sharing. Sharing what has helped me get my soul back. One of the main things, I think I mentioned this at the beginning, is to honor yourself for where you are. If you don't love yourself very much at all right now, you can give yourself a pat on the back for recognizing it, because nothing changes until we become aware of it. That's why I think I liked biology so much. The focus is on observation. We don't change anything until we become aware of what's going on and decide that we maybe want to change it. And then the next part is to be willing. We have to be willing to take the steps, but just to be aware. So give yourselves a shout out as loudly as possible, even quietly if it needs to be, a pat on the back. Give yourself a little hug. Hug yourself. All of that, each of those parts is a step on the journey, the way I see it, the way I've experienced it. By the yard, it's hard. By the inch, it's a cinch. Every little inch is important. So, think about those things. In 12-step groups, they say, at the end of a meeting, they say, take what you like and leave the rest. And that's what I suggest that you might want to do from each of the sessions that we have. Take care. I love you. Hope to see you again. Happy trails. Bye-bye.